listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. I thought this would be a good time to record because the puppies are sleeping. Mom just fed everyone. So we're taking advantage of our quiet time because they're starting to get pretty vocal. Today's episode is brought to you by Jucals in Brazil, who left an iTunes review saying, "I get so excited every time I see the notification of a new episode. Jeanette is contagious, and whenever I'm feeling bad, I listen to one of her podcasts, and I automatically get back into alignment. By the way, I love the long episodes. Can't get enough of your words." That's very kind of you. We'll see how long this one goes. I don't know. I got a couple stories I want to tell in association with the point I want to make in this episode, which is that we don't actually know what our best answer is until we're lined up with what we want. That might seem super basic, right? Conscious creators know that. It's one of the basic concepts. I know this, and yet sometimes it can be tricky to practice. But you know, when I was thinking about this was when a friend of mine recently, he lost his job under less than pleasant circumstances, which I might have helped him manifest because he was helping with the puppies, the foster puppies. For those of you who might not have heard earlier episodes or seen any of my Facebook photos, we got a foster dog from New Mexico who, when they went to do her space surgery, turns out she was pregnant. So they sewed her right back up and they said, "Who wants puppies?" So I did. And so I volunteered with his help to foster this mama dog. And like 3.5 weeks later, she had 8 puppies. And we were thinking about how much easier this would be to do this foster gig if he didn't have to go to work. We both said it a couple of times. Sure enough, out of the blue, after seriously, he was a month away, less than a month away from his 25-year work anniversary. For no good reason, he gets fired. And I'm smiling because it's not my contrast, number one. And second, because I know that whenever something... remember that massage therapist? I wrote a post a long time ago. I hope I've done a podcast on this because it is such a powerful story. It's that time I got schooled in allowing. Remember that massage therapist I went to who said to me, she was a different kind of massage therapist. We'll just say that. She read energy and she'd ask, "Are you open to hearing some insights that I got while working on you?" And I was like, all ears. Yeah, that's why I'm here. And she said to me, you could be better at allowing. And she didn't know who I was. And I was like, clearly you don't know who I am. I am the queen I teach this stuff. I know all about it. No one knows this better than I do, right? I'm thinking that. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And then, but I'm like, she's clueless. She doesn't know. And then I love how much credit I give myself for being good at this stuff. This was years ago, I'm going to say. I'm still learning, though. Okay, so I was her last session of the day. If I have done this in the podcast, this is going to be ridiculous for me to repeat this story. I'll tell the short version. We're leaving the building together because I was her last appointment of the day, and she tells me a story about how she recently lost her job where she was working for a real estate office as their in-house masseuse. And when she got fired, she didn't have any money for her next month's rent payment. Okay, that kind of freaks me out. That thought right there freaks me out. And that would put me straight into better get a job mode. But no, the response she had was, I'm going to take a little breath and remember how she said it. She said, "Wow, something really good must be getting ready to happen." Isn't that a cool response to big contrast? I was impressed. So anyway, I can laugh as I tell this. Oh, and it turns out, if you haven't heard that episode, then if you want to read the blog post, it's called "The Time I Got Schooled About Allowing." Because when she told me how she responded, she said it felt like she was just falling back into a puffy cloud that would support her inner well-being. And I was like, what? I would be looking at, what could I sell? What friends do I have who could move in and pay me some rent money? How much do my parents like me? No, that girl was all about just trusting. And she went to a party that weekend. She got invited to a party. And it turns out she was the star of the party. She didn't know that when she went, but her friend had coordinated it in order to introduce her to all her friends about her amazing talents as a massage therapist. And I will say that's actually how I heard about her. A friend of a friend had been at that party and she had sampled a couple people what she did. And everyone was talking about her. She got booked really quickly with a higher quality clientele. She got to keep all the money because she wasn't an employee of a real estate company. So she made more money and she liked her people better. They weren't stressed out real estate agents. She was working with, the kind of woo-woo people who got what she was about, where she could share her energetic hits instead of keep it quiet. So it worked out really well for her. Okay. And that's when she told me that story, I was like, oh, I see what you mean, because I didn't practice allowing at that level. Anyway, that's why I'm smiling when I tell the story of my friend who lost his job. He didn't have the same response that massage therapist had. His first reaction was to scramble to find another one. I giggle because that was mine too. I'm like, shoot, if I lost my job and I didn't have next month's rent payment, I'd be scrambling too. So, but I was in my right LOA mind when I saw him doing it. So I said, dude, you know what? Maybe you should settle down for a minute. Let that energy settle before you jump into something new. Because if you start a new job with that, I'm in trouble energy, especially the energy of having been fired, that's, even if it's a ridiculous reason, that can still be a blow. And you don't want to start something new with that flowing. He's not super LOA savvy, but I think he understood that. And so he took my advice to relax a little bit before he started figuring out his next step. And, conscious creators understand that, right? That we don't want to, it's like the same reason when I was having all that trouble with that crackhead neighbor. And my boyfriend at the time said, why don't you move? He was taking it as his opportunity for us to move in together. But I knew I couldn't move then. I couldn't move with I have a neighbor who's ruining my life vibration, because somehow, some way, wherever I moved, even if I interviewed neighbors before I made an offer on a new place, universe has got to give me whatever I'm vibrating. So I have to clean up that vibration first before I can expect anything to get better. Conscious creators understand this. And my friend, I think he got it. He seemed to be sort of practicing it, and I was sort of helping. But get this. So he got an offer in another state for a really lucrative job, but he wasn't sure he wanted to move. He wasn't even sure he wanted to work in that industry anymore. And as he was thinking about it, and he waited like 3 days to tell me about it, he was tossing it around in his mind for a while before he mentioned to me, by the way, I got a job offer. And I said, I don't know if I said this to him out loud or if I only said it in my mind, but what I was thinking was, you don't know your answer. You don't know whether that's your job or not until you know the vibration of what you want, until you've got happiness or well-being activated or something like that, at least relief. You don't know what your next best step is, because when we are making decisions from a vibration of fear or worry or doubt or anything that we don't want more of, we're not making the best decisions. I knew this when I was in that phase of, should I or shouldn't I, with a former boyfriend. I couldn't decide. Do I stick it out? Do I try to make this work, or do I just throw in the towel on this? I didn't know. I really didn't know. I wasn't having a great time, and it just wasn't super easy to find my way to a great time with him. And I wasn't sure. Is it him? Is it me? Is it my vibration? Do I just not know the vibration of happiness in relationship? Which could very well be the case. But I knew that I wouldn't know my best answer until I could be the vibration of what I wanted, which was peace and satisfaction and fulfillment and in a rewarding relationship. Until I knew that frequency, I wouldn't know whether he's my guy or not. So I practiced feeling that way, and I practiced it for a couple of days. I was just using my imagination to pretend I already was in that super satisfying, rewarding relationship. Loving, happy relationship. And then within days, I think it was like 3 days, I got a very crystal clear answer that we were not a match. It was so crystal clear, obvious. Universe could not have been any more obvious. And I did also ask, I asked higher power, make it clear, make it obvious. Hello, was it? And I told them that very night, I said that, we can't do this. We got to make plans to move on. So that's an example of if I tried to make that decision from I don't know, that's not setting myself up for highest success. So get this, I had another example of when I practiced this or didn't practice it. Oh boy. I ran across someone who I thought would make an amazing business mentor. Oh my word. I so loved this guy. I didn't know his work very well. I just ran across him and I was like, what? This guy's amazing. He quoted Neville in his marketing material. Neville's my favorite. Maybe, I don't know. I love Abraham. I don't know who I love more, but I love Neville. And this guy was quoting Neville in his marketing material. I was like, oh, found my guy. Woohoo. And he was super expensive. The offer he was making me was so expensive. I've never spent that money since. And it was a kind of money that made me go, I got to think about that for a second. But I thought, no, you don't have to think about it. Just get in alignment with what you want, and then you'll feel it. If it feels yes, then do it. If it feels no, then you'll know this isn't it. I don't know how good a job I did on the part where you align, where you practice feeling what you want, because I got a yes for it. I got a yes. I felt out my options. Don't work with him, do work with him. And it was clear I wanted to work with him. So I said yes, I signed up, paid him all the money, and in pretty short order figured out, whoa, this is not my guy. He's asking me to do things that were so not going to work for me. And I said, dude, I don't even remotely feel good about this. And he said, everyone does it. Everyone knows this is how it's done. It's fine. Everyone does it. And I was like, it was so out of integrity for me. I said, I'm not going to be able to do it. And I thought a guy who quoted Neville would understand how that works. But no, he didn't get it. He said, if you're not willing to do this, I can't help you. And he did not help me. And I did not get any money back. And I just chalked it up to, I didn't know exactly what to, it could have just been for fabulous contrast, because contrast is what makes the whole world go round. I mean, expansion doesn't happen without contrast, so maybe it was just for that. But I've also wondered, I'm like, maybe I wasn't lined up with taking my business to the next level. Maybe what I was vibrating was something more like striving or wanting, or like trying to engineer something that I didn't have. All of those are very different vibrations than having and enjoying and being that now. So in hindsight, and it could have been that my alignment was off when I got a yes. You know how Abraham says, you're going to get nudges and impulses that will propel you further along whatever path you are on, even if it's a path you don't want to be on. Those nudges and impulses, they're just more of whatever you're already vibrating. So if you're pointed in a direction you don't want to go in and you get a nudge to do something, it's just going to take you further in that direction. And that's why so much of their work, they remind us alignment and then get aligned first to what you want and then follow the nudges and impulses and intuitions that you get, because without that alignment in place, your guidance isn't as good. And that's why I'm saying in this episode that we don't actually know our best answer until we know the vibration of what we want. So, for my friend who's in between jobs right now, he would be super wise to practice. I don't know, if it were me, I would practice fulfillment. I would practice feeling appreciated and making the kind of contribution that I'm excited to get up and do every day, that I'm proud of making, that other people value. I don't know. I'm making it up. It could be whatever you want. That's the thing. We get to decide whatever it is we want. We get to choose. We just want to practice it in advance of making decisions and taking actions to get there. So for anyone who's wondering, how do you feel something that doesn't exist yet, like a rewarding relationship or a lucrative job? Look, that's what vibration management is all about. That's what our imagination is for. That's what an appreciation habit or an ability to find better thoughts will do for you. My friend practiced some of that self-soothing to help calm down his fears and that feeling of rejection. he just found some better feeling thoughts, like, I don't have to figure it out right now. And you know what? Worst case scenario, it isn't all that bad. So his gremlins didn't get out of control with it. And I helped him with some of those better feeling thoughts too. But when it was me trying to decide, should I stay or should I go in that relationship, I aligned myself by pretending I was already in a satisfying, rewarding, loving relationship. And then I knew I'll let universe clear out the guy if he couldn't meet me there, or I knew that he would step up to the plate if he had it in him to do so. One way or another, I have to lead the party. I have to be willing to vibrate what I want before I have it. And that's really the point I wanted to make in this episode, that conscious creators know that changing our circumstances so we can feel better, that's the Muggle approach. We know that what works best is to feel our way into it. And whether we're doing that by pretending that we already have what we want, or just finding any reason in life to feel better or be happy, it works either way. But the point is that we do that. So I hope you got some inspiration from this episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.